Cool. Anya, what up? Phil. Okay, thank you for bearing with me. Is my audio okay, by the way? Just so I can ask those two of you watching. Give me some feedback. Nice. Okay, cool. Awesome. So I have no plans of what I want to do with this. I have a live stream camera, and I figured I'd set it up. And the idea is just kind of to be conversational. I kind of feel like there is a divide between writing and video, and I kind of want to find the niche part of that and have it be very open to the people and not just be talking at you guys. So there's two of y'all here, there's four of y'all here now. So if anyone has questions, I mean, I'm just happy to open it up and see what you guys want to talk about. Somebody give me something. 4, 5. Okay, we got 5 people now. That's cool. It's cool. Where did I get that body poster? I had to go to allposters.com because obviously it never came out in theaters, or it did, and it was very limited. And obviously my my quote too is right there. And I have a big old wanting all my posters kind of thing going on in my life. So I went to allposters.com and had to order it for like $40 with the frame, I think. It was super cheap, and yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm fine with that because I think it was like 80 or 90 for the full size with a frame, and I was like not paying $80 for that poster. And also I reached out to Neon, and I was like, hey, do you guys have any like posters left over you can send me? And they're like, why are you even asking us? No, go away. So I was like, okay. Second question. Is that a mimosa or a screwdriver in that glass? That would be a mimosa. Daddy had a late night last night video chatting with peanut butter whiskey and regular whiskey, so keeping it a little easy for this morning. All right, hit me with another question. Let's keep this going. Or what are you guys watching? What actually? I have a question for everyone else. Like, I mean, we're all stuck in here. Like, what are you guys like going to for streaming right now? Anybody? I know you're not all sitting at home doing nothing. Yeah, but we can't talk about South by Southwest screeners. Or I guess I can talk about Drunk Bus and She Dies Tomorrow, which were both actually very fun. And it's like weird because we don't know when they'll come out, or they didn't get a reception, they didn't get anything. So that's kind of interesting because like obviously those tinier films depend so much on the word of mouth out of like South by and things of that nature. So it's kind of just like I reviewed it and a few other critics reviewed it, so that means like 5, 6 people saw the movie, and like I don't know if that's enough for buyers at this point, which is really interesting. So I'm curious to see how that actually plays out. But yeah, She Dies Tomorrow and Drunk Bus. Drunk Bus is super cute, super funny. It's about a Hawaiian or Samoan punk rock bodyguard and a bus driver for the Drunk Bus in college, and they just go on like a slacker kind of like anti-road trip comedy. And then She Dies Tomorrow, really look out for that because oddly relevant because it's about a virus of sorts. A girl wakes up and she believes she's going to die tomorrow, and she just starts passing that thought around. No one knows if it's true or not, and everyone just thinks they're going to die tomorrow. So yeah, super relevant, super weird to watch the day the corona kind of paranoia broke out, which was a lot. What we got here? Color Out of Space. Yes, Color Out of Space was insane. I don't know if I loved it as much as everybody else, but it's a very good Richard Stanley adaptation in the sense that it plays with the creatures and the monsters, and you get the crazy Cage, but you also get a subdued Cage at the beginning, which I really liked. So Color Out of Space was really a big one. Oh, 40s noir. I should really do that. I should be taking advantage of all this time and going back and doing classic movies. Because I feel like my biggest thing as a younger critic or whatever you want to call it is not having that deep a wealth of like 40s, 50s cinema, because I never went to film school. I never really, like, my parents weren't movie people. I never had that kind of backlog. So I should be taking a cue from you and actually going through all these like 40s, 50s classic cinema before I have to go back into like everyday mainstream movie kind of talk. Did anyone see? Has anyone watched The Platform yet? Not at a festival, like actually hitting streaming, because that crap was insane. I really suggest The Platform if anyone on here has not watched it yet. Snowpiercer, Parasite, those kind of vibes, but it's just a cell and like a whole tier of cells, and there's food involved, and it's a whole social. You know, if you're at the top, do you eat just what you need, or do you eat everything? Then the tier goes down. Really recommend that, and I don't really want to say much else about that. Yeah, definitely keep that one on the list. Also, The Room on Shudder. I didn't really see a lot of people talking about it, and no, it's not that The Room, but Olga Kurylenko and I forget who else. The crazy guy, Kevin Jensen's, I think his name. The crazy guy from Revenge, the final dude who gets like bloody killed. They're basically a husband and wife, and they find a room that grants them just any wish they want. And it sounds really derivative, and that kind of plot is derivative, but then they wish for a baby, and that's where things get really kind of insane. And I really enjoy where the film goes, and it doesn't stay in that room as much as you think it does. It really becomes a character study. So I really suggest if you have a Shudder subscription, go out and check out The Room. I think it only hit like 2 weeks ago. No, I'm not drunk yet, Meryl. I was, I mean, I might have woke up a little drunk, but we'll see how long this mimosa takes me to get through. I keep like burping up peanut butter whiskey, which is not great right now. Okay, somebody hit me a question. Give me something to talk about here. I want to make this conversational and keep this going, so. There's 7 of you, which is actually more than I thought there would be. I mean, I was hungover. There's a difference between waking up drunk and hungover. That's two very different distinctions, because I hated myself this morning. Give me something to talk about. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep rambling about what I've been watching, which I assume you're all kind of watching the same stuff. Or I can just watch the chat and just make this really interesting. What about Tammy and the T-Rex? Talk about Oh, Satanic Panic. Yeah, Satanic Panic, again, I don't think I loved it as much as everybody else, but there's definitely an audience for that, and if you're into just gory Midnighters, that's definitely going to scratch that itch. It's still a recommendation, because even though it didn't work for me, I know it's going to work for a lot of people. So, yeah, that just hit Shudder as well. I think that one did theatrical and some other VOD too, which is, so it's been out there for a little bit. What's up, Anya? Wait, you have a different name now? Okay, that's interesting. Tammy and T-Rex. Yeah, Tammy and T-Rex is hilarious. I'll be podcasting, or actually I think video casting with Perry Nemiroff later about it. And she asked me last night, she's like, yeah, let's do a video review. And I need something weird in a Donato movie. And I was like, you got that Shudder subscription? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, Tammy and T-Rex, because, I mean, I think, I'm assuming most people here have actually seen Tammy and the T-Rex. I'll get to Under Silver Lake soon. But yeah, Tammy and the T-Rex, if you have Shudder, please God watch that. It's the gore cut, and Paul Walker's brain gets implanted into an animatronic T-Rex, and then he still tries to get back with his girlfriend Denise Richards. It's it's kind of, I don't know what else to say about it. I love the story behind it, and I forget the exact amount of days, but the director and writer, Stuart Ravel, I think his name's Stuart Ravel, whatever his name is, his friend had the animatronic T-Rex, and all the director and writer did was see the animatronic T-Rex and go, I need to make a movie about that. And this is the movie that came out of it. I think it was only like 10 days he had the T-Rex. Maybe it was like 14 days. So it was just super rushed, super crazy, super everything. And what came out of it, is oddly sweet at points, and then graphic and gory as people get turned into pancakes and shit. Yeah, it's great. Tammy T-Rex, ridiculous, and I love it. Have you made Perry watch Demon Wind yet? I don't think she watched Demon Wind yet. Yes, I have to make her watch Demon Wind because number one, that's my brand. Number two, it's just the best movie on Shudder right now, so that will absolutely get there. Wait, hold on. So let's go back a little bit. Oh, we want to talk about Under the Silver Lake. Because why would you watch Under the Silver Lake when you could just go watch Inherent Vice? And I don't think it comes together with the stoner noir it should. I think the Fantasia cut was longer than the one that hit theatrical. So I don't know the one that I saw versus the one that everyone else saw, but the one that I saw, it had no point. And I know the whole point is to have no point, but it doesn't connect the stoner noir vibes that it just meanders. It just keeps going. There's no ending. There's no anything. And I know that's the point of it again, but did not work for me in the least bit. I walked out of that theater so mad. And I think that's actually where the beef with Phil Noble started, because I walked out of that and he would turn to me and he just kind of goes like, yes, that's like the rebirth of cinema, right? And I was just like, fuck off. No way, dude. So that is where the dunking on Donato actually started, with Under the Silver Lake. That is the genesis of my downfall. But didn't work for me in the least bit. And I know it's a super divisive movie, and I know it's always going to be a super divisive movie, and I will always be on the negative end of that. Don't even have it in me to give it another try and try that new theatrical cut, because I was so bored with that movie lasted like 3 days in my mind. It did not work for any worst. Yeah, no, and I mean, I'll admit that. That's why I said it. I mean, again, Anya saying with the Evergreen Festival problem, seeing it different cut than everyone else. Maybe that's why I hated it. That, I saw this early cut, and I think it only played one more time and one more festival, so maybe only 2 audiences saw that cut. And after that is when they announced they pushed it back like 5 months, 6 months, or something like that. Yeah, it was the pushback. So maybe I'd like a different cut. Maybe it would work better for me, but what I saw, holy crap, I could not deal with that. But I'm very glad that you guys like it, and I know it's championed all over Twitter, and it has its following, and it has everything it needs, so I'm just one voice, I guess. And yes, Ryan, you will not be getting an article about the brilliance of Under the Silver Lake in 5 to 10 years from me. I'll write about Inherent Vice. I will stand that stoner noir all day. I was devastated to see they cut 2 songs from a streaming cut. Yeah, and in the Apocalypse, I hesitate to say that I'm as mad about that, because my takeaways when I saw it at Fantastic Fest, and I think I was sitting right next to you, Anya, those 2 songs I liked. The songs are great. The cut that goes on streaming, it just is a little tighter for me. It's a little more put together. So I like having the soundtrack because those songs are there, but I do believe they actually made the right call and chopping those 2 songs out, because those 2 songs just put a little more to End the Apocalypse that it didn't need. And without those 2, it's a tighter focus on the core characters. It's a tighter focus on the story. And at least in my mind, yes, we were chuckling like morons together. I think that Anna and Apocalypse screening at Fantastic Fest was one of my favorite screenings ever, because, I mean, number 1, Christmas horror, so I'm in on it. Number 2, I'm a huge horror musical person. So those 2 together in a Fantastic Fest movie was just icing on the cake. I actually have the Mondo poster they handed out hanging in my bathroom, and again, absolutely love it. Huge recommendation. It's on Hulu, obviously. I mean, we all, the 7 of us here, I'm sure we've all seen it 20 million times, but just a reminder. Also, they're doing a live tweet on Thursday, I think. So if you want to do a live tweet along with John McPhail, the director, and probably the whole cast too, go do that. I'm probably going to do it too. Ooh, top 3 horror musicals. Off the top of my head, well, I mean, like, so top 3 horror musicals, of course, like Rocky Horror is going to be in there. For Phil, Phantom of the Paradise, stuff like that. But top 3, I mean, I keep finding myself rewatching Stage Fright, the one that premiered at South by and came out a few years ago. I have a blast with it. Meatloaf, everybody in there. It does the whole heavy metal horror riff while also roasting theater camp. And I showed it to a few friends who, went to theater camp their whole childhood lives. and they were cackling the whole time because they were like, I lived this, minus the murdering and stuff like that. But no, I really like Stage Fright. There's this one called Suck. I have it on DVD. It was streaming at one point, but again, I guess for me, it's rock and roll I'm driven to when it's a horror musical. So Suck is about a band that turns into vampires to become famous, and that's all I really needed for it. Also, Moby's in it, Henry Rollins, Alex Lifeson from Rush, and it plays all those cameos really well. I think Moby plays a heavy metal like singer, and he just like chucks meat at the audience or crap like that. So I Suck is in there for me. Yeah, yes. The Kabuki Killer songs, 100%. Again, you just get that screeching, like it's almost like a Rob Halford screech when he's like shredding on the guitar, and then the kills are really good too. I really like Stage Fright because it goes for it on indie horror kills, and you get some like decapitations and callbacks to like Hellraiser with the nails in the face and stuff like that. So Stage Fright is in there. Of course, I'm like blank. I mean, Anna and the Apocalypse, honestly, probably in my top 3 at this point. But again, that's not acknowledging the fact that like Repo exists. That all those movies that we've talked about for on, and I really like Repo a lot. I think I like the Devil's Carnival series. The Devil's Carnival 1 and 2, Devil's Carnival and Devil's Carnival. I think it's called Alleluia. I had a blast with those. I thought those were great. Carnival horror is like up there for me too, right there alongside. I think like my top 3 weird subgenres are heavy metal horror musicals, and carnival themed horror. It just works for me. So I definitely suggest both Devil's Carnivals if y'all haven't seen them yet. Wait, let me spin some things said. So let me just catch up really quick. My face screening was Climax because I was absolutely blitzed beforehand, and then those maniacs handed out sangria shots. Yeah, I take that back. I couldn't even write about Climax after that screening because I didn't know if I loved or hate it. It was a midnighter, and just like Anya said, I mean, I went into that after a whole day of Fantastic Fest, and it was like halfway through Fantastic Fest, and obviously if you've ever been there, you know how grueling and intense that can be. So the idea of going into Climax kind of exhausted, definitely drunk, and then getting that sangria shot and then experiencing Climax, I couldn't handle it. I had to wait until theatrical to actually review it, and definitely ended up being my favorite movie of the year. Like favorite horror movie, favorite movie of everything. I fucking loved Climax so much. Haven't seen Stage Fright and Suck. Definitely put them on the list. I don't think Stage Fright is streaming anywhere, or Suck at this point, so you'll have to rent them, but both are huge recommendations for me. Loved all the theater themes. Yeah, still on Stage Fright. Never seen Suck, but it sounds gnarly. It is pretty gnarly. I don't think it gets some pretty good blood in there, and it gets a few good kills, but I think that one for me is more about it just hits that like early 2000s alt rock vibe, and that's kind of my vibe at times, so it really worked as like a early 2000s throwback for the music too. Fuck you, Monocle. Get out. How do I boot somebody? We're not talking about the Black Coat's daughter. Oh, okay. All right, so this is a good one. Matt, what movies got you into horror? That's a good question because for a while I was a big old weenie and I hated horror and I avoided horror like it was a plague. Like walking in Blockbuster with my dad, I refused to go by the horror aisle just because of the honestly the Child's Play cover and like seeing Chucky. Like that was enough for me. So I didn't really get into horror, I want to say, until college. I'm gonna give it college. Was when I really dove into horror, and that's when I had a few friends start showing me things like Evil Dead and pushing that envelope. And also Netflix helped a lot. Not even the streaming. I'm talking like when you got DVDs. So I'm gonna say Rec or REC, however you pronounce that, but the found footage Spanish film about a quarantine, and obviously it was remade into adapted into Quarantine in the States. But I'm gonna give Rec my intro to horror, I guess, or the thing that really kickstarted it, because until then, I guess I was one of those people who did see horror just as like a simple genre or whatever you want to call it. And then I watched Rec and I realized, oh my God, like the things that you could do with the genre and how you could, tell a message and still have it be a scary fucking zombie film, an outbreak film. That really turned me on to everything that horror could be. And from then it was just a headfirst dive, as you guys know, or if you follow me on Twitter and stuff like that. I watch pretty much every horror film I can because full 180. And like if you talk to my parents, and they laugh all the time because they'd be like, You were terrified of Chucky. Like, even high school, like, I couldn't watch trailers for fucking Seed of Chucky. Yes, I was still afraid of Chucky when it was Seed of Chucky, not even the scary one, if any of them are scary to you. But I guess that means Chucky was, or the Child's Play series was also getting me into horror because it petrified me. And then when I finally watched it, I realized how stupid I was being and how dumb I was and how good those movies are. So I'll give it to Rec. I'll give it to Child's Play. I think those were the two biggest influences that showed me what horror could be, I guess, and made me experience things that I didn't think I could. So there is that long-winded answer, but and also, I mean, if you want to get even deeper, I'm a big horror comedy guy. So you have to give it to movies like, Evil Dead 2, watching that, and Return of the Living Dead is forever one of my favorite horror comedies and forever will be. So those kind of films got me into horror comedy specifically. And, maybe that's because I just have a really fucking bleak and cynical sense of humor, and horror is perfect for that. So those get shout outs as well. How do you feel like Gaspar Noé in general? Super hit and miss, which I feel like is a generic answer because, of course, his movies are always going to swing for it. He makes something like Love and or like Love 3D or whatever, and it's not going to be for everybody. So the fact that I adore Climax is even more interesting to me because it's kind of like Malick with me, where I'll walk out of a Malick movie and go, that was brilliant and I was along for the whole ride. Or I walk out and go, I just wasted 3 fucking hours looking at trees blowing in the wind. And Noah is a different version of that because he's more extreme, he's more intense, and his films obviously do not hold back at all. But yeah, it's the best I can go with. Hit or miss. Noah is forever going to be hit and miss with me, I think. I don't think he's ever going to play it safe enough where it's going to be a generic answer. No, I'm not going back to Black Coat's Daughter. I keep seeing that. So say something else, Monocle. Make that go away from my chat box. Yeah, no, I think I might agree with you, Larson. Yeah. Definitely benefited from. Thank you, Monocle. Climax, going back to it really quick, definitely benefited from a sober screening after a really drunk screening because really drunk, it was a trip, and I was more into the visual style of it, and I was more into what it was doing with the songs and that kind of nature. It was a party for me when I was drunk, but then when I watched it sober, and I realized how goddamn horrifying it is, and the true descent into hell, and the way that Noé, literally he has the red lit scene where one of the dancers is contorting itself like a demon. And when you pick up on that, and when you just watch the film in that kind of context, the sober screening was way better than the drunk one, I gotta be honest. All right, somebody give me something. What time is it? Oh, I've been doing this for half an hour. Yeah, that's interesting. I'll probably keep it going for like 15 more minutes. Okay, this is actually best hard recommendation you've gotten from each person in the chat. Go. All right, well, I'll start with you, Monocle. Sauna. I'm going to give you Sauna, and I'm going to let you take that victory to the bank because I did not think that period-based doom and gloom horror could be my thing like it is with Sauna. Or with you, honestly. I know that's your jam, and obviously I will never take that mantle from you, but yeah, I'm going to give you Sauna because it was bleak, it was dire, but it also plays with the isolation really well, and it plays with the period nature of, I forget what time period it was, and your piece was really good on it, going into the actual historical aspects of it. But Sauna gets a huge recommendation. You have to rent that if anyone in the chat wants to. But see Sauna. See it so bad. I actually don't know for everyone else. That's a good question. Take Sauna because I'm not giving you the Black Coat's Daughter, you son of a bitch. Wait, I'm gonna pose that to you, Monocle. What's your favorite recommendation that I've ever given you? Because I kind of feel, I guess with for those of you that don't know, for the few of you, I'm sure you all know anyway, but Certified Forgot on our podcast, obviously me and Monocle go through films that are underseen, and I guess that alone is enough to give people recommendations on episode by episode. But I feel like I always bring things to Monagle that he's gonna hate because they're always like horror comedy. Oh yeah, that's right. You didn't see Hagazusa, and I did tell you to see Hagazusa, so I know how to recommend things to you. Your specific. I think you and Anya are both kind of on the same level in that sense. I kind of want to see the movie Donato's Dodging. Have you? I mean, The Blackcoat's Daughter is Oz Perkins, who just did Gretel and Hansel, who also did I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives. I don't care about that movie, so I'm not going to say the whole title. But it's on Netflix. And his films are visually stunning, and he's a great visual storyteller, but holy crap, that dude, for me at least, it just drags. Doom and gloom, the bleaker the better. It is Perkins. I mean, The Blackcoat's Daughter is very bleak. It has these satanic vibes that permeate throughout, and I give it credit for that. The scene in the basement is so well shot. It's framed beautifully. But yeah, I mean, go for it, Phil. Like, I definitely say try everything for yourself. I'm never going to tell you guys, don't watch a movie, because you should make your own opinions and not just listen to me. But Blackcoat's Daughter is never going to be one that I pick up. It's never going to be one I get into, so that's fine. But recommendation. Yeah, also Monagle, you're going to want Seder when it comes out. I don't think there's any distribution for that, which is weird because it played Fantasia, it played Brooklyn Horror, played a bunch of places. But Seder is going to be up there with like Hagazusa for you, I think. So that's going to be your new favorite recommendation, I promise. If I don't want to throw myself from a cliff in despair by the end of the movie, it's trash. That's fair. That's also a great. If you haven't seen The Carpenter, I have not seen The Carpenter, so I will absolutely add that to my list of movies that I'll probably get to someday, eventually, but probably not at the same time. Oh, Seder's okay, Seder would do really well with Shudder. That's a perfect kind of streaming movie. I don't think it would do anything in theaters, but with the right crowd on Shudder, it's gonna go gangbusters. That's so smart. So that makes sense. More questions. I'm gonna go until about like 1:15. I got 15 more minutes, and I'm grateful for the 6 of you that are letting me kind of try this out on you guys and see how this stuff works. I really like this camera, just by the way, my little Mevo camera, because you can't see it, but I have a whole like producers on like it's like an app on my phone, and I can just basically produce right from here. I can zoom in, zoom out, I can change my framing, and it does it all in real time. Like, I'm just gonna zoom right there just to show you. But yeah, it's a fun little test here. This is something I think I need to do more of. But yeah, who else has a random question for me? Yeah. What's the mic stand you got there? So I mean, the stand itself is just basically, I can't turn so actually I can do this. It's just attached to my bar, and it's just a crane arm. It's super cheap, nothing crazy. Mic itself is an Audio Technica, I think, and if you want the link, it's on Amazon, because I love this, and I mean, this setup is really working well for me. So this is what I podcast on this, and I think if you listen to the podcast and stuff like that, Zencaster is the reason why things get kind of choppy sometimes, and it's not the mic, because I mean, listening to the audio back on this stuff, freaking great. Okay, we really haven't talked about this, and slashers is my genre, so favorite slasher. So I have to keep with Child's Play here, and specifically if we're talking one movie, I can go on a rant for quite a while on why Bride of Chucky is probably my favorite slasher, and how it kind of redefined the way that franchise movies can be made, because Child's Play 1, 2, and 3, by the book, slasher, comedy's thrown in there, but you don't really have Mancini coming into his own, and then Bride of Chucky happens, and it's a tonal just jump off a cliff, basically, because you go from Child's Play 3, that has the military camp, and or military school, sorry, and again, it's comedy in a way. They're playing more with the jokes in that one, But then you go full horror comedy with Bride of Chucky. At Jennifer Tilly, you do all that kind of stuff, and easily my favorite slasher film. So I'm definitely gonna stay with that as my favorite slasher and keep with like Child's Play being my all-time go-to franchise for slashers, because horror comedy guy, I can't get away from it, and I know Nightmare plays with it, and I know it's a thing in most slasher films, but Child's Play to me has so much fun. And I know the argument that why don't you just kick a doll and have him go flying? Fuck that, because Child's Play finds a way to get around that and still make him scary in scenes, but also play with the fact that slashers are still fun and slashers are still just entertainment in that sense and not meant to be taken serious for certain times. So I'm going to stick with basically Charles Lee Ray gets my Mount Rushmore of horror icons easily. Doop, 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 doop. That's a dope setup. Yeah. The Reservoir Dogs poster was my first Mondo. It basically kickstarted my addiction to buying them. So that one is a freaking great one. You should do a full Child's Play. Oh, yeah. I would love to, actually. That's a good idea. I've written about... So for the 30th anniversary of Bride of Chucky, I got to interview Mancini for like half an hour and just talk about Bride of Chucky, and I did a whole interview piece with him on that. I wrote about how Child's Play, again, kind of brought me into the horror world and like what it meant for me and also what it did to me as a child. So that article's out there. But yeah, I can totally throw articles, links your way. But I would love to do a whole breakdown and kind of just go movie by movie, because number one, it's insane that we're still getting new Child's Play content that's connected to the continuity from the first film. And it's only been remade once. And I don't want to talk about the remake because I was not one of the people who defended it. So... But still, it went 30 plus years, 40, maybe even 40 years without getting a remake. And it was still churning out new content. And it was still the same creators. And it was still the same team. And to me, that's like iconic. So, yeah, I would love to really go for that. It's good, fight me. You have to erase one film from existence, Jurassic Park or Jaws. Which one goes? It's simple. Jaws goes. Jurassic Park is one of my favorite movies of all time. You watch it now, it's still got the same effects work of course it has the same effects work, but it still makes the same impact with the effects work even by today's standards. So no, Jurassic Park stays forever. Jaws, get the fuck out of here. I'm getting to you, Monocle. It's my theory that the third film in any slasher franchise is when the horror icon hits their stride and leans fully into the identity that the audience loves. Yes, that is a very good theory, and I agree 100%, because if you have a horror franchise that's lasted that long anyway, you're going to want to bank on the fact that people will keep coming to your movies. And you're going to bank on the fact that this is what they love about Jason. This is what they love about Chucky. And we're just going to keep hammering that home. I mean, why take chances and risks? And, I say this cynically in a studio mindset, why take chances and risks when you know it works and you just keep kind of blazing that trail. So I mean, that's a great, yeah, I agree with that 100%. Yeah, Monocle, it's good, fight me, the 2019 remake. I mean, it basically, you're going to be in on the Child's Play remake in the first few minutes based on the way they sell Mark Hamill's Chucky. And I like the fact that they go AI. I like the fact that they did a, in my mind, correct remake by not doing the same stuff. The voodoo's gone. We're gone with all that mysticism. Here's a real world example of how to bring Child's Play into modern cinema. And they did that. I just think, number one, the puppeteering was kind of laughable compared to what we got out of Child's Play. Number two, the CGI was, when you get CGI Chucky at the end, it is atrocious. It's like inexcusable. It's bad. And also, I didn't find it funny. So maybe that's a sense of humor thing. I had the same argument with Rob Hunter over December's Into the Dark segment, once again, because it was a comedy and everyone has different comedic tastes. So for me, it just kind of fell flat. And I think Mark Hamill was the right choice. I think the way they played Chucky was... he didn't have his evil moment. I mean, yes, he got really mean and was killing people, but Brad Dourif, when he plays Chucky, he has like two voices almost, and he can go back and forth, and he gets that mad cackle. The way they played Hamill's voice and they kept it in the innocence, when it goes to the horror point, it just fell off a cliff for me. Like that voice, it wasn't funny anymore. It didn't do any of the stuff I don't think they wanted to. Ba, ba, ba. Extremely correct. You make no Jurassic Park forever. I mean it's. Perry has a Jurassic Park tattoo. She got "Hold On to Your Butts" signed by Samuel Jackson on a napkin and then tattooed on her. But I'd consider getting a Jurassic Park tattoo. Honestly, that's like one of the only other movies that I would be happy getting on my body. Scream 3. I kind of like all the Screams, and yeah, I kind of think it fits Anya's. Well, I'm trying to think if it fits Anya's theory, but I'd have to watch that one again, honestly. Monocle, you're wrong, but I like your style. Yeah, I mean that's kind of my vibe. That's honestly just how I kind of live my life. So yeah, I dig that. Yeah, no, I mean that's. I could talk about child. Honestly, like I could turn this into a Child's Play live stream and just talk about that all day. The Mr. DNA tattooed on me. I think Miska, Brad Miska, who obviously runs Blade Disgusting, has an original cell of the Mr. DNA framed like in his house, and I saw that and I got so jealous. The Mr. DNA thing it's JP is just forever. All right, I'll do this for another like 5-ish minutes. So whatever else you guys want to hear me ramble about, or I can just sit in silence and drink my mimosa. I am thinking about what I want to do because I do want to keep getting tattoos now that you mentioned it. Any horror comics you dig? Yes, very very happy you asked that because I just put my hack slash collection on display. I got a bookcase, so I got that out in the living room now. But yeah, my first article for Slash Film was basically it was a plea to make a hack slash franchise because at that time, how many years ago did I start writing for Slash Film now, which is crazy to think about, but there was more of a need for female-based heroes in horror, or call them heroes or whatever you want to say. But Cassie Hack and the Hack Slash series is one of my favorites, and it's so adaptable and it's so crazy easy to do that. She's basically just a slasher hunter, and she goes town to town killing their slashers, which, again, perfect setup. And again, my love of Child's Play coming into play because she meets Chucky at one point and they have a square off. I think she teams up with Ash in one series run, I believe. And she also fights Herbert West. So right there you have an Evil Dead crossover, a Reanimator crossover, and a Child's Play crossover. So I had to love Hack and Slash from the beginning. But I also really dig Tim Seeley's work, and I believe the comic is very funny. It's very meta. It knows horror front to back, and it's not a poser. It's not trying to work itself into the horror world. It just fits. So yeah, I really, really dig Hack Slash. And if anyone here wants a good comic to pick up, 100%. I mean, it leans into the tropes of like a sexy, female kind of monster hunter, but again, the meta contextual stuff makes it more than that. It's poking fun at basically everything. So I don't want people to get like turned off by the cover or anything like that. So yeah, Hack Slash, huge. How do you feel about the Pet Sematary remake? I really dug the Pet Sematary remake. I was I was one of those reviews that was getting called out after South by when it premiered. Or sorry, not when it premiered, but when Pet Sematary finally hit theaters and people went to go see it. There was a huge backlash because people didn't like it and they didn't see what people at South by saw in it. So of course it became a South by critics are paid off. South by critics just want the attention, blah, blah, blah. So of course my review, which was like a 4 out of 5, was getting like, yeah, like this, who is this guy? And like, he can't possibly like this movie. And I think it's actually a really smart adaptation of Pet Sematary. They did something different. I don't want to see the same movie done by Widmeyer and Kolch, who are very talented directors in my mind. I want to see their take on it. I want to see how they do it. And what they got in the screenplay was the subversion of who the kid, which kid dies. And I think that was brilliant, the way they played it. And the performance from the child actress, who I'm forgetting the name of right now, blew me away. I think she's so good as the evil little creepy kiddo. Yeah, exactly. Again, Anya, just shocked that you loved it because the ending was so mean. But once again, I'm agreeing with you in that sense. That final shot, I walked away going, "Wow, they went for it. They really went for that, and it full circle for me." So I'm pro Pet Cemetery remake. I don't get that. I love how one of the directors who was calling us out and basically, I think he said we were paid off. I want to say that he was like targeting Heather Wixton and a few of us and saying like we get paid off by parties at South by and blah blah blah. Like that's the only reason you like these movies. And it was the director of Death House, and I don't know if you guys have seen Death House, but it's dog shit. And so you get this director who's coming at us saying that South by is just an overhype machine, and yet he was the one going on Twitter calling his movie The Expendables of horror, and I had to bite my fucking tongue. I mean, that was one of the only times that I was like, oh, I'm going to get in trouble on Twitter. Like, I'm going to make an enemy today, but I walked away and... yeah, I really wish I were a paid shill. I don't understand where these people think we're getting all this from because, I mean, you know, look around. I'm not living in a mansion right now. I'm not getting it. Yeah. Oh, that friggin' guy. Yeah, Brian Smith or whatever his name is. Never will be a friend of his. I mean, I reviewed one of his movies because he makes like 2 a year or something. He's one of those kind of indie horror directors, and, you know, God bless his ability to pump out Billy Zane starring vessels. But oh my god, I reviewed one of his films positively, he followed me, and then like I reviewed a few negative, and all of a sudden it's like, critics don't get me, I can't believe this. He was retweeting Death House reviews and calling out critics every time they were saying it was a bad movie and basically saying they didn't understand his art and shit like that. Like, go fuck off. And then then you're gonna come at me at South by and tell me that I'm, you know, I mean, I paid my flights, I pay everything, I do all that stuff as we all do. You know, we're all paying to go to these film festivals and barely making our money back. Yeah, straight up, he called it The Expendables of horror. And it's like a killer cast of horror veterans, and that's cool as hell. But, man, that movie is bad. I think it starred Dean Cain or some shit. I think like Dean Cain has a big role in it for some reason. Because why not put Dean Cain in your movie? But yeah, there's more. I have more stories about that I shouldn't say. That I should probably keep moving on from. Totally agree with you. Wish I had done some more creepy Wendigo stuff, but I'm on this. Yeah, oh yeah. If there was more Wendigo stuff, that would be really effing dope. Also, just like more Wendigo stuff in general. It's a really cool subplot. It was not The Expendables of horror. Yes, I know, Anya. So yeah, more Wendigo stuff. That would have been dope as hell. But I still like the imagery going back to Pet Sematary, the remake, in Ryan's comment. Just the imagery of those kids with the mask on and walking down that kind of leafy path. And the doom is it's so powerful in that one shot. And the dread is so good in that one shot. And I'm happy with Colson Widmeyer and what they did with it. I don't see the generic nature of it that everyone was complaining about. Oh, is this? I'm gonna go rewatch Wendigo. That is a very good recommendation. Thank you, Anya. Jason Clarke is the perfect. Yeah, Jason Clarke kind of is the perfect king protagonist. I'll give you that, Monocle. Now that is a very good. Ooh, am I excited for the new Candyman? Hells yes. This fits into my do something different remake rule where I look at that trailer and I don't know what to expect. And that's a great thing because we know Tony Todd is involved somehow. We also know that the protagonist is not the protagonist. Maybe the antagonist. You get those great shots. That trailer is just so well at showing you enough but little at the same time. And the questions are gigantic. We don't know if he's actually the killer. We don't know if he's seeing a paranormal killer in Candyman. He's seeing himself as Candyman, so that even plays into it deeper. And not only that, but you have a female director helming this. I mean, everything behind it is where it should be. Everything behind it, you know, Jordan Peele is so good at taking his ideas and what he wants to do with the genre and letting somebody else do it. And, you know, he's producing. That's all he's doing here. He's producing and letting someone else kind of go crazy. He didn't have to direct this. And I love what he's doing with his position and knowing that there are so many talented people out there. And instead of him stepping in and being like, yo, I'm going to take care of the new Candyman, don't worry about it. He's like, no, we have a female director who's going to kind of kill this. So yeah, I'm going to give it to her and just kind of like step back. Absolutely brilliant. Mr. Larson. Is it just me or did you just... Oh, Velvet Buzzsaw vibes. Just from the art perspective and fantastic looking framing. I can see the Velvet Buzzsaw comparisons there, totally, because you get those graffiti Candyman shots in the trailer. And if it goes that route, if it goes with art coming to life and murdering, that would be a very interesting turn. We know that the protagonist is a photographer in some sense because he's always taking pictures. So I don't know, maybe the pictures are coming to life. I don't know, and that's what makes me so excited about the new Candyman. Candyman, what's the status of the movie? Oh, did it get pushed back or picked up by a streaming service? No, there have been no announcements on Candyman because that's a June release, I believe. I'm gonna mumble for a second and say that it's a June release, and I'm gonna blah blah blah. Candyman 2020. Yeah, June 12th. So that's still slated for June 12th. If it stays there, I think that's going to be dictated by the next month and a half, not to get all quarantine talky, but I mean, we're kind of just in the beginning stages of what the quarantine is and how our country will kind of take to it and what will happen from here on out. So I think it's ambitious and also reasonable to keep things in June where they are. I'm thinking that it's safe, but everything can change really effing quick. And especially, I'm already seeing articles that are saying Wonder Woman 1984 is going to go straight to streaming. It's not going to push back. So the fact now that if that happens, if a major studio film and comic book film especially goes straight to streaming without pushing back and without, any kind of losing momentum and it just comes out on VOD, I think that's going to change the entire landscape of kind of theatrical releases. So if that happens, then Candyman's fair game. And we also have the Lovebirds that just got picked up on Netflix. So not out of the realm of things. But yeah, so even for me, like on a personal note, I'm trying to plan a June vacation. And in my mind, I'm like, I can't plan it yet. Obviously, I have the outline done. I know when I want to go, but I can't purchase anything because we don't know what's going to happen. So yeah, I hope Candyman comes out in June because that means everything will be okay. And if it gets pushed back or goes to streaming, I think we're a lot more fucked than we thought. Oh, hi, Isaac. How are you doing, sir? Yes, thank you. I like my jaws. That's cool. Just reminded of this because I saw Candyman in 35. Oh, nice. 35 mil. Are you a film format guy who seeks out 35 mil or 70 film screenings? Or do you not care about that much? So I like a good repertory screening, and I totally dig if it's in 35 mil and 70 mil. I mean, it's just an experience that you don't get anymore because obviously everything's digital and everything is, or not everything, but most things are digital now, and shooting on film is such a archaic way of doing things, I guess, if you want to call it that. So I do like them, but I think about instances like I saw Predator, like an original cut in the Alamo, New York, 35 millimeter, and there were entire scenes missing. Like the entire first death scene, gone. It just got cut. It had to be cobbled together, the film reel. So you get the Predator stalking, and all of a sudden it just cuts to a dead body, and we miss a whole scene. So I love the experience, but if I'm going to see a film for the first time, it's not going to be on an old 35 mil cut. But yes, I do love going to the Alamo Drafthouse, especially having a beer and watching Predator with your friends in a cut that's screened with the original trailer still attached to it. It's like a time machine. Nice Jaws tea. Yeah, of course, I know. Velvet Buzzsaw was Jake Gyllenhaal having an absolute blast for an hour and a half. Yes, it was. But it needed to be more of a movie than that, I will say. Didn't really love it. Quarantine Wave. Yeah, albeit without Hawkins. Yeah, exactly. You missed the whole Hawkins death scene, and you just get Hawkins running away, and then all of a sudden it cuts to like Dutch finding his body, and you're like, wait, what the fuck? And one of my friends was watching it for the first time, so I had to kind of look at them and be like, okay, so you missed a whole scene there. And that's where it kind of sucks. Oh, yeah, we need to do a drunk screening over Netflix party. Yeah, that's totally fine. We can make that happen. Yeah, that easily can make that happen. All right, I'm gonna put a cap on this at 1:30. So that's like 8 more minutes. I don't realize time going this fast. So yeah, any other questions from the peanut gallery out there? Again, I just wanted to do like a conversational little, hey, what's up? And just see how this thing works. But I kind of like the way this thing works. So if there's any last thoughts, I'm happy to let you all go on with your day and appreciate y'all for kind of staying here. Ooh, also, who's the most exciting indie horror director right now? You need to get something major. That's a lot. I would have to really dive into this. But if I'm thinking off the top of my head, I really want to see Tyler McIntyre. Obviously, Tragedy Girls is one of my favorite kind of social media horror films. And again, horror comedies in a little while. So I would love to see Tyler McIntyre get something substantial, because the only thing he's done since then, or that I even know he's done since then, is I think it's the June Into the Dark segment. So I don't understand why he hasn't blown up after Tragedy Girls. And Patchwork too. I really liked Patchwork. It's on Shudder. I really suggest it. It's a Frankenstein riff with 3 girls getting sewn together. Things happen, girl gang stuff. But yeah, I would. Tragedy Girls is the Netflix. Oh yeah, we can. If that's on Netflix, heck yeah, I would rewatch that with you guys. But also, for most exciting indie horror director right now, you need to get something major. I mean, I would argue that Joe Lynch hasn't had anything major yet. Even Selma, no, Everly. Yeah, wow. Everly, to me, isn't a major motion picture. So it's still indie-ish, despite having Selma Hayek in it. So I would love to see what Joe Lynch can do on a massive budget. Just straight up, I think that dude would have so much fun. Yeah. Joe Lynch's Selma. Yeah, that's the movie I want to see. Only Brooklyn. Yeah, Brooklyn Horror. Will you be attending this year? I have 100% plans to attend. I just am curious how either there's going to be a ton for Brooklyn Horror to program, or like with all these films being pushed off, and the fall festivals are going to be just abundance of these amazing films, or I don't know, like, do films go away for a year that are trying to push right now and they can't get into the festivals they want to? It's going to be interesting to see how that goes, because I love Brooklyn Horror, and obviously, like, you know, I love working with them and stuff like that. But for certain films, they might not want to premiere at a quote unquote smaller festival. They might want to premiere at that South by or even like Fantasia or something. And if those don't happen, I'm curious to see how the landscape changes for fall festivals. But yes, the plan is to attend this year. Last year, I just couldn't attend because obviously I moved out here and it was a little, yeah. Oh, well then, if that's the case, Miss Stanley, yes, a little birdie told me that they're getting an abundance of amazing submissions right now. I think that little birdie is Mr. Barone, but that's good then. No, that's exactly what I would want to hear. And if that is the case, I will be out there. And hopefully I'll be at North Bend too, because now I'm on the West Coast. Seems that it's safe to submit. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair. Safe to submit since festivals are in the fall. Great. If that's what that's what films are thinking, I'm totally in on that. I think that's really smart. So yeah, we'll party on there's 6 people here on you, and you know all of them, and they know you. They know you as well. Ooh, definitely want to hit one of those guys. Yeah. So, best Brooklyn Horror Film Festival screening ever. Was it the screening of? I mean, I'm gonna give it to. I'm gonna give it to Mayhem. I think Mayhem was the biggest film that they kind of programmed that year, and they played at the biggest theater. And despite some technical glitches at the beginning, played to a huge crowd, and it got the exact reaction that Mayhem deserves. I love office exploitation horror, so that totally vibed with me, and the audience dug it too. So I'm gonna go with Mayhem being the best Brooklyn Horror screening ever. But cynically, I want to say it was the one where Andrew Todd yelled at the filmmakers after their movie, because it was a found footage film that was supposedly had this curse attached to it. Obviously, the filmmakers were making it up, but they were trying to sell the point, I guess I would say, very hard. And then he just yelled at them. Checking out Lynch juice today. Yeah, no, I'm a big Joe Lynch fan. I've always kind of promoted his work in that kind of way, because I think he's just really fun to watch, and I love the way he deals with action and horror. So you have something like Mayhem for me. It's right in my wheelhouse. That was the same year as Tragedy Girls at South by, and that was one of my favorite South bys. I think Deathgasm even played that year too. So, or no, Deathgasm was like a year before, and I know we're not supposed to, talk about that person anymore, but I'm always gonna love that movie. I can't help it. Definitely want to hit one of those. Yeah, dude, Ryan, come out, dude. I was at this. Oh, yeah. Well, he was staying with me, so we all know how that went down. Although I shouldn't spill any more tea. That's fine. All right. It is 1:28, and if there's not any last things you want to hear me ramble about, I'm very happy that my camera did not crap out for an entire hour, and it stayed on a perfect stream. And this is everything I wanted to make sure that I could do. So I do appreciate y'all sitting in here and just listening to me ramble. And I don't know if I said anything worthwhile, but no, it was fun. So appreciate it. Appreciate y'all being here, and let's kind of see where this goes. Toodles.